Syd.
And this is Mad.
And welcome to
The Syd and Mad channel. We are currently on the way to Vicksburg, Mississippi. We are staying at
the Duff Green Mansion.
It was a hospital during the Civil War?
It was it was a hospital. The room we're actually staying in is the most haunted. It is a morgue / crematorium and a nursery all built into one room.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of possibilities there.
The city that it's located in, Vicksburg, Mississippi, is named after Henry Gray Vick's family, which is insane because everything we seem to do revolves around Henry. If you haven't seen our previous video, click that link and go watch it to get more history on Henry because he follows us. Here we go. So let's go.
So we are currently at the Duff Green Mansion in Vicksburg, Mississippi. It was originally built to be a family home right before the Civil War happened. It was a family of Mr. Duff Green and his wife Mary. They lived in the house, and soon after they became pregnant with their first child named Annie.
Annie lived to be about 3 years old, and then she died of, what was it, yellow fever? It was caused by contaminated water.
After Annie had died, they tried for another child and then came their first son. He lived to be 15. He actually died on the premises as well. He was outside on the road that the house is built on, and he was trampled by a wild horse. So they weren't looking so good on kids.
Yeah, and Mary, the mother, actually was said to have witnessed that accident too. So I can't imagine.
So a little time passed, I guess, and they tried for their third child. Then came Annie 2.
They named her Annie as well.
Yeah, they were very creative.
Really weird.
They had Annie 2, and she lived to be 17. She actually got a bit of acne, and back in the day, looks were pretty much everything a girl could have. So she was embarrassed, and she tried to cover her face, so she wore a black veil.
Which wasn't that weird. Apparently it was stylish back then. But the black dye on the veil got into a pimple, and that's basically like an open cut on your face. So the dye got into her bloodstream, and she died from it.
She died of blood poisoning, which was really sad to hear because none of their kids lived past 18, so they have no other relatives. Their bloodline stopped completely.
This house is the last thing keeping the memory of that family alive because there are no ancestors from them.
But let's kind of jump back. So while they were trying for their first child, the Civil War had just begun, and Mr. Duff Green was kind of a greedy man. He did not want anything to happen to his mansion. So he had turned it into a soldiers' hospital. He actually housed Confederate and Union soldiers, which caused him to be a very disliked man. But he actually did end up saving his house and the rest of the neighborhood. Vicksburg was our strong point of the South. It was probably, the only thing remaining, like the structures and everything after the Civil War. Back then we didn't have as many towns as we did now, but all of our main towns were demolished. So he had one bright idea. But while the Civil War was happening and he had turned this into a hospital, they actually had to go into a cave to give birth to their first child because they didn't want their newborn to be exposed to this kind of tragedy that's happened in this house. So now we're going to kind of get into what actually went down here.
So there is 6 rooms in this house, bedrooms in this house. It's 3 floors. So the bottom floor was for the staff, and that's where their bedrooms were. And then the middle floor was the ballroom, eating room, hangout, living area, the parlor, the party area basically. They threw a lot of parties in this house. And the 3rd floor has the master bedroom and then other rooms for guests. The nursery is next to the master bedroom. That's where all the kids stayed, and the nanny stayed in there with them.
Out of all these rooms, they were kind of designated hospital rooms, like what we see today in a hospital. The family, like I said, did kind of abandon the house during this time, so the bottom layer of the mansion was strictly it was basically what you would see in a hospital except for one room. One room was actually a surgical room where they would perform amputations. But another room was actually for the deceased, and they used the bottom floor primarily for this because if a soldier didn't make it, it was easy to just throw them out of a window than it would be to transport them through the whole house and cause chaos among all the other soldiers battling for their lives. The 2nd floor with the ballroom and the parlor and the dining room, we really don't know what happened down there. It really wasn't discussed much. The 3rd floor was kind of the most prominent and scary place of all. There's 4 rooms up on the 3rd floor. We have 2 rooms that were used for rehab for the soldiers that just got amputations and now they're trying to heal. The room we're actually in right now, this was kind of a very dark place for soldiers who didn't make it. Right outside of our room, we had a hallway. It's like a grand hallway. They wouldn't even use a room or any privacy curtains or anything to perform amputations. If someone didn't make it, they would bring them through the door into this room, and bodies would just stack up. And over here, we have a bathroom that was basically like a morgue. There's a connecting outside door that leads to like this staff's stairwell, so they could easily dispose of the bodies without causing chaos. The fatality rate was pretty high because back then they didn't sterilize everything. Our tour guide actually told us about how they would have 4 doctors performing a surgery at one time, and they would get the surgery done in like 3 minutes. It was a very fast-paced operation. They would have a nurse or a doctor bring in a soldier, and then another doctor or surgeon to do the amputation, another nurse to carry the soldier to the designated room, either rehab or to be buried. Then we had the last and final nurse to throw a bucket of water on the operating table to rinse off all the blood. So needless to say, there was a very high fatality rate due to the fact of cross-contamination and infection. So with that said, there is a lot of death in this house, and therefore that's why we're here. And now we're going to kind of give some backstory or ghost stories of what actually goes down here.
The staircase that leads from the ballroom, living room, eating area up to the 3rd floor is known to be where Annie, the first daughter who died when she was 3, she's known to be there in one specific area of the stairs. There's known to be a sound of a rubber ball coming down the stairs, bouncing down.
It's also known for gentlemen to get their coats tugged on, or
when they say that they've been tugged on, multiple guests have said that they've been tugged on.
But only men.
Only men. And it's like a short person were to do it, basically.
And she was only 3, so that's pretty short.
And then afterwards, some of them report feeling pressure on their shoulders.
But it was like uneven.
Yeah.
So
they think that little Annie would tug on her dad's shirt, and he would pick her up and put her on his shoulders and take her upstairs to bed.
Because, I mean, we've said a lot that he was a greedy, unliked man, but he was a good father. So.
Yeah, he was very good to his family. Guests have reported hearing running up and down the stairs all night, and they would complain the next morning and be like, who was running up the stairs all night? And it wasn't anybody, it was little Annie. It's also been reported by guests that they've heard a man's voice. They're not exactly sure who it is, but it's believed to be Duff Green himself. Also, in the room across the hall from us, guests report their wine glasses being emptied and put upside down while they left the room for a second.
We also heard another one. They had left and they had come back, and their wine glasses had been spilt. And then they left to go get cleaning supplies, and they come back, and the wine was like curdling, like as if blood was curdling.
And
they left. They got out of there.
They were out. And then downstairs on the 1st floor where the staff stayed back in the day, there's a room called the Dixie Room, and that is the downstairs area where they did the amputations. There is supposed to be a man, they call him the one-legged soldier. He rocks in the rocking chair. Well, actually, they took the rocking chair out because he was freaking out guests.
Yeah, the guests left, and I guess word got out. People were scared. Mm-hmm. I'm convinced they took that rocking chair and put it in our room, because we have a total of 3 rocking chairs, which we are not a fan of.
No.
The one-legged soldier is most prominent at the front of the house, at the stairwell going from the outside of the house to the 2nd floor. It's like he's a very, I'm not going to say dumb, but there's intelligent apparitions and there's kind of mild ones. So he is not actually here per se. He is like a broken record.
Right. It's like a time lapse where it just keeps going on repeat.
So you can see him going up the stairs in multiple. They've caught him on camera.
Right. Like he wouldn't be there, and then you would see him walking up the stairs, and he would disappear.
Yeah.
And that's been seen multiple times, the exact same thing. So it's like, it's just repeating and repeating and repeating.
But like,
and it's not actually him.
And he's not there. If he's anywhere, he's in the Dixie room. I believe that these people who died in this house are kind of stuck here. It's like a moment in time. So they're just going about their regular day, and like, I don't feel like he would be just walking up the steps every second of every day, like of how people describe they've caught on film. Mm-hmm. I don't think that. I feel like they're going to be where they want to be. There's not much heard about Mary, the wife and mother of the home. She's kind of a very faint figure around here. People do say that they have heard her
in the parlor.
Yeah, in her parlor on the second floor. Something cool about this house. So during the Civil War, the house was said like it was safe. It was going to be untouched, but it actually took a few cannons or cannonball. Sorry. Our neighbors across the hall, they actually have a kind of a time capsule of where a cannonball came through the roof, and it's kind of preserved like that. So that's pretty cool.
So now that you know about the history of the Duff Green Mansion, we are going to be here for the next 2 nights. And tonight, we plan on trying to contact Annie, a woman that we talked to earlier today. She was the tour guide. She told us all this history. She told us about these people who came here to try to contact Annie. They put powder on the stairs to see if any footprints would appear. And they did. So we are going to try to do that tonight. We also have a ball for Annie to hopefully play with or push down the stairs or something. We're not sure what she's going to do with it, but
we actually toyed around with the K2 meter earlier. We're not too sure. Well, she's not convinced that we spoke to Annie, but I believe we don't have it on film, but it's very tragic because something cool happened. We were sitting there, and today we kind of just went out and did our own thing and took some really cool pictures, and we came back and we were going through them and sending them to each other. And at that time, I had been sitting for quite a while, so you know how when you first sit down, your hair's still kind of like settling? Well, I had been sitting down for a while. Everything was settled, and I was still. I felt something tugging on my hair on the back of my neck, and I was just like, I looked at Sydney, I was like, something just touched my hair, and I was like, never mind, it's just me. And then I felt it again, and I was like, this is weird. And I had sunglasses on, so they got knocked, and it was really abrupt, so I took them off, and I told Sydney to get the K2 meter and kind of put it around me. And
as soon as I put it behind her head where she said that she felt her hair moving, it spiked. The K2 spiked.
And so we tried to talk to her. We tried playing nursery rhymes for her just so she felt more comfortable.
And while we did, it started spiking. It was insane.
Yeah. We tried to talk a little bit more, but I don't think we really got anything. So we just decided to get her a ball. I mean, because I feel like she really was there. So we're just kind of rewarding her for hanging out with us and kind of showing her presence.
If the room is available, if it's vacant, we're going to try to go into the Dixie room and maybe see if we can talk to the one-legged soldier and kind of investigate the Dixie room a bit, because we've heard a lot about the Dixie room while we've been here. Everybody, when we talk about we're here for ghosts, they say something about the Dixie room.
Even the guy who checked us in, he seemed to know nothing about the house itself, but that is the one room he got correct. Another cool kind of feature of this episode on our channel, my mom actually stayed with us last night, and she wants to come back with her friends, and this friend of hers has been in our family for quite a while. She has some things going on with her.
We talked about her in our storytime video, so if you haven't checked that out, check it out.
She's the star of the Walmart story.
And also the picture story.
Yes.
The picture story, the Walmart story, and also the boat girl, it was in her house.
Yes.
So check that video out so you can get a little bit more backstory on her.
But ever since she was young, she's had like this sense. She's been really attracted to this kind of paranormal stuff. New Orleans was her favorite place in the world just because of the spiritual and the culture that was there. She's experienced stuff, and I believe that she can attract it, and she knows how to deal with it. So hopefully we can get her to stay tomorrow night and kind of help us with this journey. So, I mean, it's crazy. Like, ever since our first video, things have happened to me. When we asked in the first video, who do you like to speak to? The dowsing rods pointed to me. The Annie thing just happened to me. And so, like, I'll be ready for a break. I would really like for her to come and take some punches.
There are other people staying here tonight, so we're going to try to be as quiet as we can and not disturb them. So if we're whispering and hard to hear, that's why we don't want to disturb anybody else staying here. There's a big camera crew staying here for a TV show called Who Do You Think You Are? And
shout out.
Yeah, shout out. They're very nice, but they have been shooting all day. They left very early this morning. We don't want to disturb their sleep. I'm sure they have to get up early in the morning again. So we're going to be as quiet as we can.
Yeah. Let's get to investigating.
Yeah, let's go. Before we get into the investigating, I'm going to show you our room tour. I'm going to take you out into the hallway first. We're going to be really quiet because there are people sleeping in those rooms. But here, if you can see those dark spots, those are actually blood stains from the amputations that went on right here where this table is. And here is the Duff Green room. This was their master bedroom. I'm gonna close this so we can talk. So here's the room. There's Maddie in the bed. So yeah, we got all of our stuff. Sorry, it's messy. Come with me. We have to go with each other everywhere into this bathroom because we're terrified of it.
This is where they would bring the bodies out, and this door actually leads to the back porch. It has been closed off now, but yeah, so they would actually stack the bodies in here and then carry them out once it got too full. This is actually new because they didn't have showers back in the day.
Yeah, that's why there's a door.
It was probably
for
a
the
closet
shower
or something.
Yeah. And here's the bathtub. It's a nice bathtub. The toilet. And mirror.
There's actually a rumor that
people have seen Annie looking out this window from the, I don't know if you can see it, but
there's a courtyard down there.
Tables down there. I'm going to take you. The nursery is also a part of our room. This is the nursery. Beds. There's Jay.
You've had in every bed, haven't you?
Every single one.
Are you going to get this one next?
This was our night light last night. The creepy rocking chairs. This is where me and Maddie sleep. This is the Ouija board that we don't know if we're going to be trying again. We tried the Ouija board last night, but it did not go very well. Insert the clip.
Okay. 3 circles. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we call upon positive spirits. Is there anybody here?
My fingers are coming off.
Are you a good spirit? Okay. What's your name? Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
You don't know.
Goodbye.
Did you say
We're done.
that?
We're done.
Did you
Turn
do
the
that?
lights on. We're
Who'd you
done.
say goodbye to?
Will you turn the lights on?
Zozo?
What would you
Don't
say?
say it.
Why would you say?
So I thought that's what you wanted was a spirit.
No, not that one.
Why does this happen? Do we need a new Ouija board now?
We're not supposed to use them.
Who's that spirit?
It's this like. So the board has this one like malevolent spirit, and like if you contact him, you're not supposed to continue because he's very bad.
You don't want to try again?
I'll blow out the candles. We can try again. Witches say that the color of the candles has some like connection with who you're trying to connect. And red is evil.
Oh.
So you're supposed to use white candles, but we've been using red candles. Okay. Is there anybody here? Well, first of all, we're only wanting to talk to positive spirits. Nothing bad. Is there anybody here? What's your name? Can you tell us your name? Yeah, no, goodbye. We're done.
You don't know what was going there?
Z, Y, X, no, Z, W, X, Y, Z.
Are you okay?
No names. No. Or after that? No. We're done. I'm not trying to get possessed or anything. Was it like staying here class? It's very
Yeah, I think. Well, oh, let's talk about what we heard last night.
Last night, Sydney and I were sleeping in that bed that you just saw in the nursery. We had gone to sleep, or were on the verge.
We were on the verge of falling asleep.
And my mom was sleeping where we are now, and we heard a big crash.
It sounded like a bowling ball fell off the table, but there's no bowling ball in here.
So we like both looked in here, and then we looked at each other. And
We both jumped up out
Yeah.
of our sleep, and we looked in this room, and then we looked at each other like, what was that?
And then this morning, right when my mom woke us up and everything, we came and we like looked to see if anything fell.
Nothing.
Nothing. The only thing that had fallen were a pair of glasses,
There's no way that could have made that sound.
No.
No way. And we're the only ones that heard it too.
Yeah.
Jake or her mom did not hear it, which is very weird.
Because it was right when we were all going to sleep, so someone should have heard it. But, I mean,
we don't know what it was.
If it happens again, I'm leaving.
No, she's not. She's stuck here. Now let's go investigate.
Right now, we're going to put talcum powder on the stairs so we can probably catch some footprints of Annie. That's where she's most known to be at, and it's really late. It's currently like 12 o'clock, so we're going to put this out for a little bit and then go and check on it and then get some rest. But we're whispering because people are sleeping right there, so let's go. Let's go. This is the area where she usually How are we going to clean this up? I'm sorry, I'm shivering. That's why the camera's shaking. That was me. I think we're good. Are we good? Okay.
Annie, if you're here, can you please change the colors on that light?
So watch how I tap it. Can you make it do that?
If you're here, can you please make those lights change?
How you gonna get up? Yeah, let's watch this. We're gonna go watch a movie. What is it for a while? We didn't clean up Annie. It's right here. I put it at. I think we should move it. No. No. Okay. Just put it right there. See, it's just gonna roll. I heard something down there. That's Jake snoring. No, down there. Oh. What's wrong? I just heard it like a pop. Okay, we'll leave the ball there. We'll check back up on it when we come clean up, but we're gonna leave it there overnight. So, bye. It's still there. It's still there. Did you just say something?
investigating with the lady that Maddie knows. That she's a medium, and she's really in touch with ghosts and spirits and stuff. So a lot more investigations coming. Yeah. Tonight was just a start. We're gonna clean this up and go to sleep. So this is a good night for now. Okay. Good night. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay. Bye.
Whoa.